let's talk about the next part of any percent KPDR. So tonight we're going to talk about Oceanfly, then Phantoon, and then Wrecked Ship, and that'll be it. Hopefully it'll take about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, but we'll see. Just came up this elevator from Red Star. So previously we were coming up this room, if you remember, and we went up the elevator, and you should have power bomb selected. You want to lay a power bomb up next to the door in this situation. You may see people running other categories lay a power bomb down here, and that's not bad, but since we have speed booster and high jump, it's actually better to lay it up next to the door. That's a 405 versus 419. So yeah, lay the power bomb up next to the door, and then jump through. You don't need to do a wall jump. I don't know why I'm doing a wall jump there. But what you do need to do for my strat is you need to be holding a charge shot. So stand kind of on the right side of this platform, lay a power bomb, unmorph, hold a charge shot, stand on the right side of the platform, and then jump through the door. Now, you don't want to let the charge shot prime all the way, or you're going to get an X factor like this, and that's really bad. So make sure that you're not dilly-dallying around. You want to do a jump through the door and then ledge grab here, and then immediately run forward with your charge shot and do another spin jump up here, and that will kill this crab. You may see some other runners do something like this. Okay, where they lay a power bomb and then they keep going up. All right. We're gonna lay our power bomb when we're coming back, and the reason for that is because the strat that I do here is quite a bit faster than the alternative, and makes it so that between the strat here and then the strat on the way back after Wrecked Ship, it's just a little faster overall. The other nice thing about doing this strat that I'm going to explain here is that it is identical to the optimal strat used in Hundo. So yeah, it's a good strat to learn. It's kind of hard, so I'll talk about potential alternatives after, but we're going to cover this first. So ledge grab, spin jump, pseudo screw this crab, okay, and then do another spin jump up here and do an up shot once you land, like this. Depending on how you do the movement, the key hunter might be in the way, but it usually ends up kind of over here instead. If I remember correctly, doing a wider spin jump there makes it show up here. So you want to do kind of a tight spin jump around this platform right here. Once you get up to the top, you want to run, and you can just run and morph if you want. I run and do a short hop little mock ball thing here and lay a power bomb. And then what you want to do is run and do another mock ball over to the left. And you want to stop right around here and do a 3-tap short charge. If you're not familiar with short charging, I have short charge tutorials separate, one of which is in my general movement tutorial. So go familiarize yourself with that. But a 3-tap short charge should be enough here. This is going to be broken out. So you want to do a 3-tap short charge, and then a gap skip. And during your gap skip, you want to shoot. So you'll shoot, you'll prime a charge shot, you'll still have a Shine Spark charged, you'll run and jump over and land on this left side of this last ledge here, and then see how the door is open. That's because we laid the power bomb right here. The power bomb that we laid right here opens that door, and then you run through the door. If you mess up like that, you can just execute your Shine Spark a little early. If it happens again, I'll show it. And if it doesn't happen again on accident, I'll try and do it on purpose and show it. But that's how the room should look generally. My best room time with that strat is a 906. If I remember correctly, Behemoth and C. Scotty W have like a i8X, like an 8.4 something or an 8.5 something. So really, this is a really great strat. Like I said, it is kind of hard. It took quite a bit of practice for me to get it down. But that's the strat. Oops. All right. So if you charge your Shine Spark and then you fall in the gap, oh no! You can quickly jump back up and then just Shine Spark through the door like this. You'll lose some health doing it, but it's better than having to redo the short charge all over again. The other thing is that you want to turn around while you're still in ball, because that will avoid the turnaround animation, which can kind of make the short charge awkward. All right. We'll talk about the Shine Spark in the next room a little bit more in detail here in a minute. If you mess up one of these jumps, you don't have to change too much, but instead of doing a mock ball to the left, instead I would select missiles here, and then do a gap skip across, and missile this key hunter because it's going to be in your way, and then just do the same thing. So I'll try and show that. Oh no, crap. Missile, gap skip, key hunter. Like that. Oh no, I messed up. Oh crap, I'm messing up a lot. Missile, gap skip, missile the key hunter, get in position, do your short charge. And go. All right. Alternatives. So you can lay a power bomb here, and then another one there, and then do basically the same thing. That's pretty slow. Another thing you can do is, how did it work? There's a strat to like kill that crab. Forget what exactly. Forget how it worked exactly. Yeah, this is pretty dang slow doing it that way. I don't remember. It's been too long since I switched strats here. I think you typically get more vertical speed for left side strats. Well, maybe. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it's maybe I just have a bad entry into the room. Yeah, that's a little better. So that's probably what it was. Don't take damage on these crabs, it's really bad. Heck. Alright, well let's just go. Sorry, I'm not gonna be able to cover the other strat in depth, fortunately. Oops. Alright, so you want to have a charge shot entering the next room. Unless you're not doing the charge shot ocean fly, in which case you can use a missile instead. I recommend the charge shot personally, because again, that's the same thing that you do in Hundo. But there's nothing wrong with using a missile here instead. One thing I will say is there is almost never a reason to skip these missiles. You'll see a lot of top any percent KPDR runners skipping these missiles, where they do something like that, like that. But really, you should have, honestly, you should have at least 20 missiles for this route. You really should. The benefit to skipping these missiles is just the fanfare time. See, and that's what I was going to say, Omni, is you shouldn't pick up high jump boot missiles instead of these because it's slower. So the only reason that you should pick up high jump boot missiles is if you're planning to do 25 missiles total. If you're planning to do 20 missiles total, you should be skipping the high jump boot missiles and grabbing these instead. These cost 0 in-game time to grab, and they cost 6.6 seconds to grab real time. So yeah, don't, if you're listening to me, don't ever skip these missiles, basically. As far as why you need a charge shot here, technically it's possible with just a regular shot, but it's much harder, as I do it first try. But the charge shot has a larger hitbox, which will stay spawned and more likely to hit the door than the smaller one. Hey Waldo, thanks for the tier 1 56 months. Yeah, dude, if you want to come visit, you can. It's fine with me. Okay, so how does Ocean Fly work exactly? Well, the other alternative is to, like I said, use a missile. I don't know if I can even do this. But basically, either way, you're wanting to shoot to do your Shine Spark just as your projectile is leaving the screen. See how hard the missile is? Don't do the missile, it's really hard. Come on, man. Maybe you needed to Shine Spark. Yeah, so if you do the missile, you need to Shine Spark a little bit before the missile leaves the screen. But basically you're jumping forward, releasing your shot, and then Shine Sparking just as it leaves the right side of the screen. If you bonk the door, that's okay. It's a couple seconds time loss. But the other thing that I'll mention is that when you need to Shine Spark, like how quickly after it leaves the screen, will change a little bit depending on how far into the room you are, and also how much run speed you had before you do this jump. So your run speed is going to impact the speed of your beam with the Doppler effect. It's going to impact how fast the beam is moving. And if it's moving faster, then you need to spark earlier, or else it's going to despawn. If it's moving slower, then you need to spark later, or you're going to bonk the door. I hope I explained that in a way that makes sense. I use this overhang in the background as my visual cue for kind of where I'm aiming to do my shine spark. Okay. And basically what I'm doing is I'm pressing shoot, and then I'm pressing R immediately after I press shoot, and then I am holding forward the entire time, and then you press jump when you want to execute your shine spark, which is, again, just after the beam leaves the screen. If you do it too late, the beam will despawn and won't open the door, like that. If you do it too early, you'll bonk the door like that. It is pretty particular, but that's how it works. Okay. Well, Zenny, what if I am bad at short charges, but I still want to ocean fly? Well, I have good news for you. You can come over here, even if this door is closed, and you can just do a one tap, where you press forward and then press dash, and that will give you enough speed, enough distance. You don't even have to one tap. If you come all the way to the door, you don't even have to one tap, but a one tap will make it a little easier. You can just charge your spark here after the floor has regenerated. Okay. And then, like I said earlier, you can just spark with the open door across. Okay. So let's say that you miss ocean fly. What do you, like, because you bonk the door, right? What do you do in that situation? Well, you bonk the door. You land. And then you hold forward through the door. And then you want to do a 3 tap here. 1, 2, 3. You'll charge your spark right around here, and then you can finish your spark the rest of the way. If you're having trouble timing those taps, oops, you can move backward a little bit, and then just hold it through the door. And then you can charge it on the edge of the thing here, and then go. Alternatively, if you miss, you can do the same thing going to the left. Let's do a 1 tap. So come down here, do a 1 tap, and then go. For energy conservation, you would probably want to hey, Sasha Boss. If you do it to the left for energy conservation, you'd probably want to do something more like this. Okay. But regardless, there are a lot of different strats and a lot of different backups for how you can do ocean fly. You just press shoot to release a shot, Road. Oops. Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, Sasha Bosses. You can conserve health by sparking a little higher. Gosh dang it. To bonk the ceiling where the Ripper is. I've never actually learned that that strat. But I will try and show it here. Like that. Okay. So there's these clouds in the background. You want to spark kind of aligned with the bottom of the top dark section. Right there. Make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Alright, let's move on. Man, I do not feel like I'm doing a good job with this tutorial. Everybody keeps saying that I am, but I just don't feel like I am, and I'm sorry. While you're doing Ocean Fly, you can auto-deselect the super, then use it, shoot the door, run through. I use angle down to arm pump 4 times, and then release the charge shot as I'm passing these bugs right here in the floor. And that will open the door for you in a way that you won't bonk. No, you're fine, Omni. Fine. If you time a left input here correctly, you'll kind of wrap around onto the stairs, which is really fast and cool. If you miss it, it's not that big of a deal. See, it is really hard. But that's what it looks like when you do it. And then you just want to jump down through these gaps. I like to shoot a downward shot here. It's not required, but that is something that I like to do. It'll break some of these blocks here. And then get out of the way, you stupid ghost. Do an angle down shot and then a downward shot. Land in this hole here. And that will clear all of the shot blocks on your way down. Select supers, run forward, do a short hop, fire the super down, and fall through the door. You technically can just run off and fire a super, but that's what happens to me every time I try and do that. I end up doing a little gap skip there. So then, you could turn around instead, but I just find it a lot easier to just do a short hop, do that instead. Like that. And that's that room. Really, it's pretty basic, just back and forth on the way down. This is the hardest part right there. The angle down shot followed by the down back shot. It's kind of awkward movement. If you time your shots incorrectly, the shot blocks won't be broken. See, so it still worked there, but like notice that one was still there, for example. I've had it where none of them were broken at all, and I got stuck here, and that's really annoying. So to avoid that, you want to do your angle down shot just a little later, is the idea. But when I try to focus on doing it later, I end up missing the down back, so. All right. You want to do a speedball here. The fastest way to do this is to do a 2-tap. 1, 2. 1, 2. Like that. You can also do a 3-tap. It's a little more comfortable because you have less run speed. But you lose 10 to 15 frames if you do a 3-tap. As far as the cue for where to jump, I use this gap right here. This is where I jump. 1, 2. And then just do a mock ball, speed ball under the gap. If you don't get blue, just bomb this piece out and then roll through, unmorph, and fire a super on the door. If you want to just skip the speedball in general and use a bomb instead, you can do that. And that's a 623, so It's about half a second to 40 frames slower to do that. How do you keep the jump so low? Really, it's just practicing the short hop methods with pressing jump and then releasing and repressing jump. 1, 2. See, and that time I went too low and I bonked the robot. So I'm definitely not perfect at this. You can technically use a power bomb here, and it's almost as fast. It's not gonna reach. But we really want to conserve our power bombs. That's a 604. I would not recommend doing that, because then you're going to be relying on drops RNG for power bombs, and we already are a little bit, but that would make it even worse, basically, so. Four tap would never be worth it here, because it significantly increases the complexity of the short charge, and it's even slower than a 3 tap, so. Alright, let's talk about Phantoon. Oh boy. I'm gonna turn the music off. Okay, Phantoon. My better Phantoon tutorials are probably in my PRKD tutorial and maybe in my Hundo tutorial. As far as my strats for Phantoon in KPDR, it's kind of a hybrid between those, honestly. I do not do X factors on Phantoon, so if you're looking for X factor strats on Phantoon, this is not the place to find them. I'm not even going to try to explain how they work. I just do Dopplers. If you're afraid of Dopplers, don't be, because they're really not they're not that hard. It's just a matter of timing your missiles, and I'll show that. There's some really good tools in the practice ROM here to hone in on your Dopplers and how you need to do them. So I guess what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Phantoon's patterns first, just briefly. I'm just going to show his patterns. I didn't save state with enough time here. The goal is to clear Phantoon in 2 rounds, and on each of those 2 rounds, he can have 6 different patterns. At the start of the fight, he'll either move left or right, and then he will open his eye in either a fast pattern, a mid or a medium pattern, or a slow pattern. Okay? So you can have a left fast, a left mid, a left slow, or a right fast, a right mid, or a right slow. The same thing is true of round 2. Okay? So if you're doing 2 rounds, ideally, you should know all 12 patterns where he can potentially open his eye. That sounds like a lot, but something that's nice is that in round 2, 2 of those patterns are actually exceptionally rare. So try not to worry too much about it. The practice ROM has this RNG control right here. Mine is a little bit out of date. There's a newer version, even newer than mine, that has kind of changed the way that this is laid out. But basically, you can choose which pattern you want Phantoon to do, and get used to what those look like. So that would be my recommendation, is to go through each of these and get used to where he's gonna open his eye, and then go through random and kind of just like assume that he's going to open in a fast, and then if he doesn't open in a fast, assume that he's going to open in a mid, etc., etc. Okay, so we're going to go through random here. So he moved left, and the first time that he might open his, here, we'll do this. First time he might open his eye on fast left is right here. Okay, so let's say that he does a mid left instead. I'm still going to shoot based on assuming that he would open his eye for a fast left. Since he didn't open his eye for a fast left, I know that he's going to do a mid left, which is right here. Okay? If he did a mid slow left, we shoot here. Okay, it wasn't a fast. Then we shoot here. Okay, it wasn't a mid. So we know it's going to be a slow, which is right here. And then we die. Yay. That is the methodology that you should be going through learning these patterns with, is learn where he's going to open his eye first. And honestly, I wish that I had like magic cues for you on that, but I really don't. Learn where he's going to open his eye first, and then just kind of brute force the patterns until you get comfortable with each of them. It's going to take hours. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a beginner and you're trying to get into KPDR as your first venture into Super Metroid speedrunning, that is awesome. Phantoon is going to take you hours and hours and hours of practice before you're comfortable with them. That's just how it is. The left-right patterns are pretty symmetrical for both rounds. Kind of. They're symmetrical, but they're flipped vertically. So he is higher on rights and lower on lefts, if that makes sense. So a left fast is down here in the bottom left, where a right fast is up in the top right. Does that make sense? Okay, Waldo's here. Hang on one second. Okay, so we're going to continue talking about Phantoon. I don't remember exactly where we left off, but I feel like I was about to start talking about Dopplers. So we're just going to start talking about Dopplers, and I'm going to hope that I don't leave out anything super important. Mid slow. I don't know what that means, Road. I have no idea what that means. I was talking about how you want to fire. You want to assume that Phantoon is going to open as soon as possible. So like you assume that it's a fast, and then you assume that it's a mid, and then you accept that it's a slow, right? So that would have been a fast. Mid would be right here. Wasn't a mid. And then there's a slow. All right. As far as flames go, they're a huge pain in the butt to deal with. That's another thing that the more that you fight Phantoon, the more you're gonna get used to kind of the patterns that he drops his flames and how to deal with them. I'm not gonna go into super in depth into how to deal with flames. It's just something that the more you practice Phantoon, the more you'll be able to read kind of how he's gonna drop flames and where you should shoot to deal with them, etc., etc. So let's talk about missiles. Like I said, I'm not going to be X-factoring Phantoon here. When he opens, you want to shoot him with 2 missiles, then you pause and wait. You wait for him to move, and then once he starts moving, you can shoot him with 2 more missiles, and then you need to start your Doppler missiles after that. So this is a slow pattern right there. So 2, 2, Doppler. Okay? The total number of missiles that we need to Doppler into Phantoon before we use a super on him is 15. So since we're splitting that into 2 rounds, generally you're going to want to try to do 6 and then 5 in the second round. So 6 in round 1, 5 in round 2, but it's 5 plus a super in round 2. If you only get 5 in round 1, then you got to do 6 in round 2 plus a super, and so on. So I kind of have a mental note that it's 6 and 5, 7 and 4, 8 and 3, blah blah blah. The way that Dopplers work, let's kill Phantoon and I'll. Oh, I messed up this pattern. Okay. 5 is after the initial 4 shots. Yes, that is correct. So you do 2 plus 2, 2 plus 2, and then your Dopplers. And the same is true on round 2. And I guess I should specify here. So 6 plus 5 is only 11, right? And that's because you're doing 2 plus 2 on round 2 as well. And so 6 plus 5 is 11, plus 2 plus 2 is 15. And like I said, after the initial 4 that we do in round 1, we need 15 more before we can super, if that makes sense. That's how my brain breaks it down. Maybe, your brain decides to math it differently. That's up to you how you decide that you want to do that. But but yeah, ultimately it's a total of 19 missiles and then a super. Super missiles do 600 damage to Phantoon, and you want the super to be the last thing that you hit Phantoon with, because if you hit Phantoon with a super before it will kill him, it will send him into an enraged state where he flies to the top of the screen and spams flames and is invulnerable for like 20 seconds or something ridiculous like that. So you don't want to use a super on him until it will kill him. We are going to look at the info HUD option here on the practice ROM, and we're going to change current mode to shot timer. Right here. Okay. What this does is it tells us how many frames are between our shots that we're doing here. Okay. Missiles have a cooldown of 10 frames, meaning you can fire 1 missile every 10 frames. With Phantoon, when you're Dopplering Phantoon, you want to be shooting as close to that 10 frame window as possible. So let's do equipment 100% so we have a billion missiles here. So you want to shoot a missile and then run forward and then shoot more missiles. So that looks like this. Okay. And again, if you're looking at the top left, you want that number to say 10 as much as possible. 11 is okay. 9 is okay one time, but if you get 9 more than once in a row, the missile will not fire. When it says 9, the missile is actually coming out on the 10th frame. It just basically buffers the shot, so it still works. But if you do 9 and then 9 again, then the missile won't come out. So you won't get anything out of that. The fire rate for this is 360 BPM. There is a there's a YouTube video that goes over this. I think it's on the wiki, actually. Here we go.
One simple
no
but brilliant
ads.
trick to cool your
No ads. No ads. Boo. Okay. So that's the fire rate. It's 360 BPM. I will put a link to this video in chat. That won't help people watching on YouTube, but whatever. There it is. And that's the firing cycle for you. The title of the video says 350 BPM. It's actually 360. But yeah. So let's do this. We're gonna set Phantoon to a right fast here. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay, so we got 6 in there, so we need to do 5 plus a super on this next one. One, two, three, four, five, super. The way that I switch to a super, it's going to change for you depending on where your item select button is. But for me, it's on X. Basically, I just... After I fire my last missile, I just kind of rock my thumb up to the X button and then back down to the shoot button. Something to keep in mind is that the cooldown between a missile and a super is not 10 frames. You can shoot more quickly than that. Okay? If you try and do 2 missiles, then it's not going to work out. Maybe it is still 10 frames. Oh, it is still 10 frames. I'm a liar. I'm a freaking liar. You're a lot less likely to try and fire too fast when you're switching between the buttons like that. I guess that's probably what it is. So try not to worry so much about firing too fast and just focus on firing the missile, switching to the super, and then firing a super immediately. How tight is the timing on the Doppler? If you're asking like how slowly can you fire, it depends on a lot of things. I can't really answer that accurately. Phantoon's position, how close you are to him, all sorts of things kind of impact that. I would say if you're doing a just walking forward Doppler on the floor like this, 12 is probably fine, 13 might be fine. But again, it depends on Phantoon's position and stuff. See, like, I was too slow there. And he's disappearing, and I'm just firing at 11. But there were some 11s there and it worked, you know. So yeah. Let's go over each pattern. We might just end this tutorial part after I'm done talking about Phantoon, but I feel like I should go over each pattern here. So we'll talk about write fast first, since that's what we have already. I line Samus up. Yeah, let's leave the room here. Ship Phantoon. Okay. So while the flames are coming out, I line Samus up so that while I'm angled up, her back heel has just a little bit of this dot on the floor still showing. Okay? See that? So there should be just a little bit of the dot on the floor still showing. That's where I stand. And then as Phantoon spawns, for the first shot, for a fast pattern, I just shoot basically just slightly after he starts moving. You could say, like, when his eye is passing over those green dots, that's kind of when I fire my shot. And then you fire 2 missiles. You wait for him to move. If there's flames in the way, you can missile them out of the way. And you fire 2 more as he started moving. And then you can either throw him off screen and then Doppler, or you can run to the right, bonk into him, and then Doppler to the left. It's really up to you. In general, not throwing Phantoon off screen is always going to be faster. So if you can get comfortable enough with your Dopplers that you do it while he's still on screen, that's what you want to do. Also, if possible, you want to avoid bonking him. I do really aggressive strats where I intentionally bonk here, but like if you can avoid bonking a second time when you're doing your Doppler, then you want to avoid that second bonk. Okay, so we did right fast. We'll do a right mid. So wasn't a fast, so the mid is going to be right here. Okay, so for the mid, you just don't move at all from this starting position. Okay, and there's a number of different ways to deal with Phantoon, whether it's on screen or off screen, etc. I'm really bad at off screen Dopplers. I don't know why. I used to be fine at them, but more recently I'm just pretty bad at them. See? I usually like to go to the right like that. So that's mid-right. Again, he spawns from your starting position. He spawns basically where I left fast forward. All right, right slow. Oops. So it wasn't a fast. wasn't a mid. So the slow is going to be right there. So my cue for that is this line in the background right here. That's where I stand and I shoot straight up for the slow pattern. Right here. Okay. Do that a couple more times. You might see me stuttering here when I'm doing these Dopplers. Essentially, the way that works, I'm just going to briefly explain it, is you fire a missile while standing still, and then you press forward and fire another missile, then you release forward and repress forward and fire another missile. I alternate the presses, so it's forward fire, forward fire, forward fire, and not pressing them at the same time, which is what some other people do. You can do that either at the beginning or the end of your Doppler. Either one is fine. I kind of do both, but when I was starting out, I found it easier to do them at the start and then just bonk into Phantoon at the end. But whether or not you do that depends on how much energy you have and stuff like that. So, all right, one more time, right slow. Alright, so it wasn't a fast, wasn't a mid. It was a slow. The flames got in the way and blocked my missiles, so he despawned. That's something that will happen sometimes. You can learn to fire more missiles to clear the flames and then connect with Phantoon still. But sometimes you're just gonna get screwed, and that's what sucks about slow patterns so much, is that there's flames everywhere usually, because he's been flying around so much. It was nice that time. Alright, let's talk about the left patterns for round 1, and then we'll talk about the round 2 patterns. And then, I don't know, I think we'll be good after that. Come on. No, we're not talking about X factors. So yeah, a left fast, he moves left. You can fire right after he crosses over the line. You just fire an angle up shot and then fire 2 missiles, 2 more missiles. You can do an on-screen like that, or you can run back to the left, do an off-screen like that. You'll see a lot of people do a jump when he's off-screen. That is not... There is a reason for that. If you don't do that, he's going to end up in a weird spot when he comes back on screen. See that? How he came in on top? So we jump to manipulate his position coming back on screen. And it also serves as kind of a good timing measure for how long it's going to take for him to come back on screen. But in general, I would just recommend not doing off screens, if possible. And instead, I would recommend, again, running to the right, doing on-screen Dopplers that way. All right, mid-left. All right, so it wasn't a fast, so a mid is going to be where a right fast would be. Okay. I like to stand underneath the green dots on the right panel, right here, and then shoot straight up. So these green dots right here. That's where I stand for a mid-left. But yeah, we're not talking about X-Factor strats because I don't like the X-Factor strats and don't know how to do them. So I'm not qualified to talk about them. I'm sorry. Alright, one more time here. Wasn't a fast, so we're hoping for a mid. Was a mid. And we just do a Doppler to the left like that. Alright, slow left. Wasn't a fast, we hope for a mid. Wasn't a mid, now we're sad. It was a slow left. We stand under the left yellow dots here and fire straight up when he's gonna spawn. Okay. All right, let's do a right fast into round 2. Okay, so we got 6. Do this again. Okay, we got 6. Now we're gonna do a fast left. So that's where a fast left goes. And that's how to deal with it. An air Doppler is functionally no different than a ground Doppler, but it's a little bit more finicky in its timing. But basically you just have missile selected, jump, and start firing while you're moving forward. And that's it. And then once you've fired enough, just switch to your super and fire. Okay. We'll do fast left again. Alternatively, you can go under him, throw him off the screen to the right, and then do that. If you're low on energy, it may actually be a really good idea to do that. You can ball under him like this. And that will work for flames too. Even if he drops flames that are in the way, you can ball under him. Like that. Alright, a mid-left. This is actually one of the more rare patterns. And it's the same as a round 1 fast left, right there. It's actually a slightly different position, but you will almost never see this pattern. But you should learn it anyway, just in case. short that time. Alright, I cannot change this, can I? Still gonna do a mid-left here. Yeah. Alright. Alright, so this is what a slow left round 2 looks like. Okay, so it wasn't a fast. He's not gonna do a mid. Okay, confirmed he didn't do a mid. He's gonna come over here. You can just stand basically all the way against the wall. And do that. Stand basically all the way against the wall and fire upward. Is what I like to do. Oops. You saw me inching away from the wall there. It's kind of a habit. But I'm pretty sure you can stand all the way against the wall. I'll double check that right here. Yeah, I see it. Still works. I would like to clear this round 2, please. Alternatively to throwing him off the screen, you can run to the right and then do an air Doppler to the left. It's hard though. There we go. All right. Let's do a fast right. This is like less than 1% chance that you'll get this pattern. You want to shoot just as he's passing those green dots on the right. These green dots right here. Okay. Mid-right, this is one of the most common patterns that you'll see. Right there. So it's, again, these green dots on the panel right in the background. Once he's aligned with these green dots, that's when I fire. This is a really good pattern. Like if you get a fast mid and this is the mid that you get, that's a really good pattern. And this mid is actually more common than a right slow, which is the last one that we'll show. All right, so it wasn't a fast. We'd never expect a fast. We're hoping for a mid. Didn't get the mid. So we're gonna have to deal with a slow here, which is like the left side, except on the right. Anyway, that covers it for Phantoon. I'll do a few kills here without RNG manipulation. I'm not going to talk about 1-rounds. But does anybody have any other questions about Phantoon that I've missed that isn't about 1-rounds or X factors? I've been off screen this whole freaking time because my camera being turned. Oops. Yeah, so I already talked about air Dopplers a little bit. You may have been AFK or something, but basically they're the same. They're the same as ground Dopplers in principle, but you just jump, hold forward, and fire missiles. So you want your first missile still to be while Samus is stationary. So you jump, fire a missile, and then hold forward and fire more missiles. Again, it's the same fire rate. You want to do it about once every 10 frames, and you can train that with the shot timer. Yeah, it's no problem. They're less lenient than ground Dopplers. I will say that. I'm not sure exactly why that is. I think Samus has less forward speed in the air than she does on the ground. But you also cover less distance while you're approaching Phantoon, so. So that was 7. So we're gonna do 4 plus a super here. He's dead. Certain patterns that I'd prefer or recommend them. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but I did talk about each pattern, and for the ones where I would do an air Doppler, I showed that. Alright, so we got a slow. Okay, we got 8 there, so we're gonna do 3 plus a super. And he's dead. No fast. Hoping for a mid. No mid. That was 7. We fired 9, but we missed 2. So we're going to do 4 plus a super here. We did not get the mid pattern, which is more common, so he's trolling us with a slow here. And he's dead. No fast. Giving us lots of rights, though. No mid. We got 9, but we missed one of our first 4, so it's the same as an 8. We do 3 plus a super. He despawned. When he despawns like that, he does an invisible pattern. So we're just waiting. He's flying around the room right now. We're just waiting for him. So he's giving us another slow here, unfortunately. There's a left, wasn't a fast. Hopefully it's a mid. Wasn't a mid. So it's a slow. That was 6, but we missed one of our first ones, so it's like a 5. We're gonna have to do 6 plus a super here. That was a mid that I wasn't there for, so could have been bad. So we're gonna throw him off screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we missed the super. So now we're forced into a 3rd round here. if you're doing 3 rounds, I will say this, it's still a good idea to keep track of how many missiles you're doing, because then, like for example, I knew that he only had 1 missile left before we could hit him with a super, or 0 actually in that case. So I didn't wait for him to like fly around the screen and stuff. As soon as he opened his eyes, I just shot him with 2 missiles and a super. So that's a way that you can save some time if you're doing 3 rounds, is firing basically the least amount of damage that you need to kill him. That was 6. We're gonna do 5 plus a super here. Shamwell, thank you for the tier 1 10 months. Really appreciate that. Five plus a super. Alright, one more. That was only 4, so we gotta do 7 plus a super here. We got 7, but we missed the super. So again, since I know that all he needs is a super, as soon as he opens his eye, we're just gonna fire missiles and then immediately do a super. And he's dead. Okay. We'll do 1 more good kill and then I'll wrap it up here. That was going for a 1 round. I think that was 13. Yep. All right. We are going to talk about Wrecked Ship next time. I was going to do it all in one, but we're already over an hour for recording. And I have some other stuff that I need to do tonight before I maybe potentially come back and do some runs. One thing I will say, for Phantoon drops, for these drops, you want as close to full everything as you can get. Most importantly, we want supers. So 3 supers here is minimum. If you have less than 3 supers here, you might run into an issue. 5 is great, that's full. And we want as close to full power bombs as we can get as well. The other thing is, depending on how much energy we have, that will change the strats that we do going through Wrecked Ship. So as far as energy, I like to have at least 180. So 260 is great. We have more energy than we usually would, just at the end of the fight. So that was only 2 supers there, so that was bad. But yeah, we'll talk more about ammo next time. All right, thanks guys. I appreciate you watching. Gonna wrap it up here for part 4. And we'll do part 5 soon.